How's it going, everyone? My name is Feral Pigman. We're jumping into the races right now. But welcome to this round of 8 race quarterfinals between Ppotdot1 and Resistingframe. This is the 2nd seed versus the 7th seed. So Ppot's the 2nd seed and RF is the 2nd seed. Sorry, Ppot is 2nd and RF is 7th. Ppot's got a 33.47, 4th on the leaderboard. RF has a 36.28, which is actually pretty impressive. I think he's only learned the game. We said like 3 months ago, probably didn't care, but probably for this tournament specifically. So we'll see how this goes. We're of course starting out with Starman. And you guys everyone's probably heard it enough already, but I'll go over it again anyway. Basically every route that you're going to play in this game is going to start with Starman. We unlock the Super Arrow when we beat Starman, which is very overpowered. Very good for horizontal movement as well as vertical movement. Mostly horizontal, but you will see runners use it to climb vertical distances rather than climbing the ladder, which is quite slow. But yeah, so we're both runners into Starman. The main idea is to hit him 9 times with Charge Buster and then once with a regular lemon. Each Charge Buster deals 3 damage. And then the lemon, so that's 27 when you hit him 9 times, and the lemon makes 28. So it looks like Ppot got Grav Skip. We'll see if RF does. RF does not, but he also wasn't going for it, I think. So about a 7-second difference right now. And yeah, you saw the runners collect the letter in Starman stage. So both runners do in beat route, which means they collect letters strewn out, basically 1 letter in each A robo stage. And when you collect all 8 letters, you unlock beat. Oh. That was interesting. Unfortunate death there for Ppot. If you're a little too high, then you kind of clip into the ceiling, and it can kind of mess up your arrow movement. So like if depending on the screen, if it's at the top of the screen, you kind of clip up and you don't actually move as fast as the arrow, so it leaves you behind. I think at the height that Ppot was at, he was basically stuck in a slide, which is kind of tricky. You normally aren't in that situation, so it's hard to adjust. And you saw he accidentally fell off the arrow. So yeah, RF's got the lead at the moment. Let's change audio back to RF. So gravity, you see that Ppot's kind of low on life, but he'll be fine. The gravity fight is totally scripted. It's always the same every time, no matter what. There's no RNG involved. And Ppot's actually probably going to go for half tasks, which is a little harder, more difficult strat that RF did not go for. Basically, he'll try to get an extra hit here. Unfortunately, Gravity Man's shot absorbed it, but let's see, 401. See what the lead is at the moment. So Ppot was ahead by about 10 seconds going into the stage, and now RF is ahead about 10 seconds. So Gyroman, you already saw Super Arrow a bit in Gravity Man, but you'll see it a lot more in Gyro on the third screen. So this game is a lot about super arrow ammo management. So you'll see the runners, or right now RF, is walking off the front of the arrow. This is because super arrow consumes ammo whenever you're standing on it. Which is very important because, like, if you walk off like you saw the runners do, and you'll see it a lot more throughout the stage or throughout the game. When they're falling off, the arrow goes so fast that it pushes you back on. But in the time that you're not on the arrow, you actually don't consume ammo. It's a little scary for RF. Oh, nice. If you get hit by the Stomper, like if you're not used to how to recover, it can be really tricky. I think Ppot did an intentional damage boost against him. But yeah, so the super arrow, basically when you walk off, it doesn't consume ammo. So you will be standing on it for some amount of time, but it does decrease on the amount of ammo you use. And so this allows you to basically use the arrow more often than you might otherwise be able to, especially in the castle stages where your ammo does not refill in between stages. Yeah, so super arrow consumes 2 ammo to use, but you only actually need 1 ammo to use it. So a lot of times you'll try to end up with like 1 arrow or 1 ammo left, and then you can just use it on the next screen. Unfortunately, RF did not respect iframes enough. So Ppot takes the lead again. Basically, gravity is Gyro's weakness, but each usage consumes 4 ammo and deals 4 damage. So that means that you have perfect ammo, and if you accidentally, you can't miss because it's a full screen nuke basically. But if you shoot in the iframes like RF did, it means that you have to switch to Buster and hit him with 1 lemon and then a charged Buster basically. So we're entering Crystal Man stage. If either runner were doing beatless, you wouldn't see this stage because they would skip it. But since both runners are doing beat, we get to see it for both runners. A lot of ammo or arrow management going on here, or arrow usage rather. The third screen, the one where you saw them fly basically over the entire thing, arrow is very useful there, just because the crystal droppers are dropped randomly, and so if you're walking across and you're not careful, you can jump across a gap and get sniped by a crystal and knocked into a pit. So both runners here are getting the M tank. The M tank, essentially, there's two types of tanks. Well, 3 technically. E tank, which is in basically every game. I think starting with Big Man 2. Refills your health. The M tank was introduced, I believe, in this game. I don't think there was an M tank in Mega Man 4. But it basically restores your health and your ammo. So you'll be using it in the castle stages because, like I mentioned, super arrow ammo is very, very important. You save a lot of time using it, and your weapon ammo does not refill in between stages and castles. So they'll be using the M tank quite a few times. So it looks to be about a 3-second lead, maybe, for Ppot. 3 or 4-ish. But yeah, you'll see the runners use M tanks a few times once we get into the castles for that all-important super arrow usage. Five, 9, 10, and 11. Good to know. Although I think in 11 it's a W tank. different letters, but same overall usage, I guess. Both runners through the spike screen or the drill screen smoothly. Those drills are one-hit kill. So if you get hit, well, if you get hit by them, you die, obviously. But it's tricky mostly because all enemies in this game have iframes. 8 frames where they're invulnerable after you hit them, which is particularly tricky for those drills because you're walking towards them or sliding towards them or whatever, and they're drilling towards you. It's a lot of feel because if you mess up a little and you shoot into iframes once or maybe twice, then and don't realize it in time, then you could end up dying. And both runners did gravity here. There is a strat where you basically switch to crystal early. Crystal is Napalm's weakness, so you're going to be using it in this fight anyway. Smooth fight by Ppot. Lots of sliding, pretty cool. So there is a strat where you switch to crystal early, and it basically cuts out a menu, but it is harder to do, and you do run the risk of some drops. But yeah, so Gravity Man was completely, there's no RNG whatsoever, completely scripted. This fight, Napalm, is also no RNG, but he does have different patterns. Basically, the one where he shoots 3 missiles, which you only saw on Ppot's, or which you saw Ppot only get. And then RF got one where you basically shot Napalms up. And you want him to only shoot the missiles forward. You have more, I think, damage uptime, and also less lag. And it's completely position based, basically. If you're some amount of distance away, he'll always do the 3 missiles. Versus if you're close enough, he'll shoot his napalms up. But yeah, so this letter C is the most out of the way. I think this one costs the most amount of time to get. Because it adds 2 screen transitions. Also hidden behind a wall. So yeah, Stone Man, in my opinion, is one of the hardest stages in the game. Certainly the hardest in 8 Robos. There's just so many things that can go wrong. So many little things that you can make mistakes on. Ppot did that screen with the Rush Jet a little risky. The safe way to do it is basically to transition, or to jump as soon as you transition, or maybe jump through the screen. Oh, interesting. I haven't seen that one from RF actually. But yeah, the safe way is to kill the whatever the telly, I think it is, before you get onto the rising platform. But I mean, it worked out fine. So into Stone Man. Basically, he'll either Ppot got the worst pattern. He'll either be happy and do a little jump, or he'll be angry and do a high jump, and then he'll smash into the ground and be invulnerable, just like that. So you want to see these little jumps. RF got one of them. So slightly better pattern. But yeah, so the little jumps, basically he's always vulnerable. Whereas if he does a high jump, smashes the ground, he's invulnerable. So it does take a little more time. But that was the worst pattern. You'll always kill him before he does another jump if you do that. So the worst is he just slams himself two extra times. So on a Charge Man, I mean, you just see Super Arrow over that entire screen. So So Ppot has entered the chicken room. I don't think, yeah, it doesn't look like either runner dedicated this room to anything, but it's a deceptively hard room to do. So Ppot got an ammo drop, so he's going to switch to super arrow so that he can use an arrow to basically go over this whole screen. It's RNG whether or not you can do this, just based on if you get an ammo drop late enough to really benefit. If you get it too early, RF got it as well. It is a tricky arrow management, tricky arrow to place. I think there's 3 pixels, like 3 Bible pixels, but RF got it as well. That's cool. All right, so Charge Man. Power Stone is an interesting weapon. He shoots 3, or you rather shoot 3 stones, and you cannot shoot it again if any stones are on screen. So what that means is effectively you'll either go into, you saw RF do right there, pause to despawn the stones, or Ppot had basically a perfect fight where instead of pausing, there are a couple situations where if your placement is correct, or if your position is correct rather, you can fire it so that one stone spawns in his hitbox, and then the other 2 just hit him immediately. So that despawns all 3 stones without you needing to pause, and you can just shoot again immediately. So if you do it right, you can cut out two pauses there, which each pause takes about 1.5 seconds. So really well executed fight there by Ppot. Or you can do what RF did and just pause every time, basically. Nice and safe. So Ppot just succeeded. Bubble skip. See if he's going for boat skip. And he is, and he got it. So bubble skip. You're intended to ride the large bubble all the way up, or not all the way up, but you're intended to transition the screen on the large bubble. The large bubbles don't pop. Those small bubbles do pop, so you're not supposed to be able to screen transition on them. But, oh nice, RF got it as well. However, if you land on the bubble close enough to the screen transition, I'm not sure what the window is for that actually, but if you land on it correctly, the bubble will just push you up into the next screen, and you don't have to wait for the large bubbles. It is tricky, but runners, I mean, when you practice it enough, you have a setup for it. It's not too bad. And both runners also went for so bubble skip saves about, I think, 14 seconds. And then boat skip, which both runners did. You basically skip the boat transition and you walk on water. Saves about 3 seconds. Mostly for this screen that Ppot's in right now. You can slide the whole way. So Ppot got the O. This is the scariest letter. If you miss it, then you have to, well, if you miss it, you basically, do beatless. Because the only way to get it is, to die. And then at that point, it loses so much time because you have to do this whole cutscene again. RF also got it. So both runners successfully got beats. Let's see, 1837 teleport for Ppot. We'll see what RF ends up with. So Waveman's weakness is charge kick. It is interesting because instead of using it with B, like any other weapon where you shoot it, it basically replaces your slide. So you're kind of sliding on the ground. It is also really good, you saw throughout the stage. It kind of makes you invulnerable, so you can slide through things. And Ppot's on the best screen in the game. Went for a 2-frame jump. Basically, you have to jump out of your slide, and you have 2 frames to do it. And if you jump too soon, then you end up in the pit and you die. However, when you've done it enough, then you can recognize that you're not going to make it and turn back. So if you're good at recognizing if you're not going to make it, then you can turn back and not die. So it's kind of free time save-ish, unless you're not good at recognizing it and you kind of hope that it works, then you die. But it worked out. That's a safe way to do it, is what RF just did, which basically you just land on the platform again. I think that's like, I'm actually not sure how much time that saves, like half a second or something. And Ppot on that last screen, and then on the screen that RF is entering right now, Ppot's doing a lot of more complicated lag management strats where he's killing a lot more stuff. It's a very laggy room, so whatever enemies you can kill and remove their sprites off the screen to remove lag, the better. RF was kind of doing it, but I think he might have fired a few too many lemons, so might have created more lag than he saved. I'm not too sure, though. There's a lot of... like, those screens are really hard to do well, to do as well as Ppot did, to actually save time with kind of not lag and all that stuff. So this boss, or the Dark 1 boss, fairly straightforward. The first half, he'll kind of walk. I mean, he's a tank, so he doesn't walk. But he'll kind of move slowly towards you. In the second half of the fight, he'll quote unquote run towards you. And RF did it the safe way. Basically, if you hit him with Water Wave, after he starts moving, he'll immediately stop. So the easy way to do it is to just kind of hang out and shoot him with the wave every time he starts moving. Kill him in the middle of the room. Pretty simple. The harder way to do it, which Ppot did, is basically you try to lure him. You deboost a few times and lure him into the corner. And the reason you do that is because in this game, the boss fanfare always starts some number of frames after you kill him, or them, they're robots. After you kill the boss, the fanfare will start. It does not, the death sprites do not need to get off the screen in order for this to happen, like some other games. So you do save time killing the boss in the corner. Save about half a second in the Dark 1 fight, killing him in the corner. And this boss you see on Ppot's screen, he's making a few mistakes, but I mean, in the end, he got the kill. So beat is the reward for collecting the beat letters in each stage. He always hovers on your back shoulder, and basically, if there's an enemy on screen and you're not moving, you don't have any horizontal or vertical velocity, he will leave your shoulder and attack the enemy. When he hits the enemy, he'll consume 2 ammo and deal some amount of damage. So, he does save some time on Dark 2 and Dark 4. He saves most of the time, or actually not necessarily, but he makes the capsule fight very consistent. But because of those rules I stipulated, he is kind of difficult to control. So you see RF stopping occasionally is because beat will not attack if you're moving. And the distinction with no horizontal or vertical velocity, it's kind of wordy, and not moving works just as well. But just hearing not moving, you might not realize the fact that if you're at the peak of your jump, you're at the peak, so you're not moving up or moving down, so you don't have any vertical velocity. And as long as you're not moving horizontally either, then that counts. So he will attack then, and you'll see that a lot in the capsule fight. So yeah, he's a little hard to control, but he will help out later well, he's already helped out, but he will help out more later. So Ppot's through Dark 3. This is a very scary stage. Referred to as Widowmaker, just because there's a lot of scary parts. That Met Cannon screen that RF just got through is one of them. And then this long screen, I mean, this strat looks scary, but it's actually quite simple. It's just a B and then an A+B, and then you can just ride the arrows all the way across. But because you use so much super arrow ammo on the screen, and you use your M-Tank as well, if you die anywhere, you lose a massive amount of time, just because you need super arrow in so many places. And if you're missing super arrow, you're probably gonna have to use Rush Jet somewhere, and Rush Jet is pretty slow going through these sections. Oh, that was a really cool Dark 4 by Ppot. Really cool. He did have another. I think he had an extra cycle on the last phase, but that looks sick. It's a very difficult stage. Basically, after you destroy the bottom platform, the tower will start falling. Yeah, here's the L-Tank. This is the only instance of the L-Tank. It's only in the cutscene. It just refills your health. Not sure why they didn't make an E-Tank, but there you go. So yeah, the tower, once you destroy it, it'll start shaking, and then it's really weird. It's just a very strange stage to do. Very difficult to do well, because once the tower starts moving down, while the tower is moving down, the blocks are invulnerable. You can't destroy them. So you can only actually destroy them when the tower is stationary. So that makes it, kind of tricky to execute well, basically. So our Dark 4, with Beat, it's very simple. You just deboost everything and just hope that Beat does enough damage. Hope that Beat does more damage to him faster than he can damage you. This fight is much more difficult beatless. You're doing charge busters, and you have to hit him when the shield is out of the way. This is kind of scary, but RF is okay. One more hit would have killed him. I think he has an E-Tank, so he could have done that if, it looked like he was going to take another hit, but he got through fine. And I think the capsule closed on Ppot at 26:30. So we'll see what kind of lead Ppot has going into Wily's. $27.42, so about 1 minute and 12 seconds. Not insurmountable. There are a couple of costly deaths that Ppot could take that could give RF the lead again. One of them being this Crusher section. Well, I think dying here is like 30 seconds, but so kind of makes a reprisal from Mega Man 4, Dustman, but this one's much scarier. Ppot gets through fine. Took an extra hit, but got through a couple extra chicken hits too. But it's all good. Of course, if you get crushed by the Crusher, you die. So this is kind of scary, but usually, you just kind of mash. You mash judiciously. You can't just mash however you want. If you mash too quickly, you can. Oh, this is kind of scary, but Ppot will be fine. Well, calculated. Wow, he did get. Well, he would have played it safer if he had not gotten the drop, I'm sure. But he did get that health drop on the very last screen, which gave him 2 extra health. And if he hadn't gotten that, he might have died. But I'm sure he knows exactly how much damage each thing takes. So he would have taken it safer if he hadn't gotten that drop. But yeah, Big Pets, kind of a tricky tricky fight, and I'll talk about it more when RF gets there. But these Wily stages are quite difficult. RF is through fine. So Ppot is in Wily 2. These are the underwater screens, underwater physics. You cannot jump out of slides underwater in this game, much like our MM4 and all of MM6. So you have to turn around to cancel your slides, which both of these runners are MM6 runners, so they're very familiar with that. So yeah, Big Pets. The gimmick is he's only vulnerable after you've hit his platforms out. So the ideal strat is you hit the bottom platform, deboost off of it, and you get shot up to his head. And then you hit him 3 times, and just kind of rinse and repeat. The reason it's tricky is because it's kind of hard to fit all those hits into his iframes. And he deals a lot of damage. So it can be scary. It's quite easy to mess up, and then if you're not used to backups, then you can end up losing a lot more time. So Ppot is on to Q9. I think I've heard him say on a few occasions that this is his favorite boss fight in the game. So you can ask him about all the reasons why he likes that boss fight if you visit his stream. But he kind of goes back and forth, and his doors open every once in a while, randomly, or oh no, RF. I guess messed up his slide cancel. After I talked up, them being MM6 runners, that's unfortunate. This is also a very scary screen, or a very scary stage, just because it's so late in the game. And yeah, like you're used to being able to jump out of your slides normally, so you can. And there's like the spikes, so if you jump too high, then you die. It's definitely a scary stage. Opening 3. So, oh my god. He's going for standing doubles. So, okay. This boss, 7. Wow. Worst pattern for standing doubles. Worst pattern for Ppot. So Wily press, he'll oscillate 3, 5, or 7 times and then drop. Normally, you're intended to only be able to hit him once each time he drops. Although, what you saw Ppot doing essentially allows you, if you execute properly, it can allow you to get a double hit on every single pattern. Unfortunately, he only got 7s, which is the pattern that you can get it double on anyway. So he didn't gain time over doing an easier strat. But yeah, so Wily Machine, its weak point is Super Arrow. He's kind of low, probably E-Tank. No E-Tank, okay. Yeah, so if Ppot takes a hit, he'll die. Although, if he executes this fight properly, he won't take a hit. Because you see, he's going for 2.5 hits every cycle, which is Beat will hit him. Ppot will meet him halfway at the height of a jump, you see there, and Beat attacks again. And then Beat will try to attack a 3rd time, but it's a quote-unquote half hit. Because he'll start going out and then so fancy. He'll start going out, but he won't actually hit him, but he will track him. So you know exactly like where you know exactly where Wily will be. Nice, GG. 34-13. We have a live world record on screen. Amazing. Very good run by Ppot. His PB is a 33-30 something, I think. So pretty well done. So yeah, and you saw Ppot doing also more difficult strats where when Wily Capsule is invisible, he's not actually invisible, he's just the same color as the background. And you saw Ppot use gravity to basically turn or change the background color white. And because he changed the background color white, Wily Capsule doesn't change, so it will reveal his position. And that's something you can do for beatless. Or Ppot used it to determine where he was spawning, so like when he missed a track. And then he summoned it such that Beat hits him on the way down. Which is, more complicated. Normally you would just wait for him to spawn and then react accordingly. Yeah. Not actually world record. Sorry, I was memeing. It's a Donkey Kong Country 1 meme. That 34-13 is the world record by RFC, I think. So we'll see how well RF does. Yeah, it's a very it's a hard boss fight to do at the very end. It does so it's all positioning based. Well, it's almost all positioning based. Since you know where he's going to spawn, you can just practice. The only thing that really matters is the heights. There's different heights you can spawn at, and you just practice how to react according to that. But if you mess up, it can cause you to take more cycles, and each cycle you see this takes a very long time for him to respawn. And GG for RF. 36-41. RF's PB is a 36-28, so that's only 23 seconds off his, or 13 seconds off his PB, with a death. So, if he hadn't taken that death in Wily 2, that would have been a PB for sure. He lost at least 30 seconds, probably closer to 40, or maybe closer to 45. So pretty good. I mean, very well done by both runners. If RF doesn't die on the second run, then he could very well PB. Let's see. Join the next race channel. All right. Oh, he has a 35 not submitted. I see. I see. Okay. Never mind. It was not almost a PB. Yeah, but so Wily Capsule. It can be quite difficult, like I was saying, to do at the very end, like when you're on PB pace. It is almost entirely execution, although not 100%, because Beat can kind of Beat usually instantly hits him, but he doesn't instantly return to you. The speed. Well, the amount of delay in between hitting him and returning can differ. So sometimes he'll hit him and basically return instantly, and then you jump and he does it again. And return instantly. Like you're used to him taking a little bit of time to return. So if he returns instantly, then he can mess up your timing. And the way I do it anyway, that can mess me up. And let me advance to the next. the way I do it, it can mess me up, and you know, other runners might do it differently where it doesn't affect them. But yeah, it can definitely be Beat's fault. You know, like everyone says, or you know, everyone says, or lots of people say "stupid bird," like blame Beat, and then a lot of people also say, or a lot of more knowledgeable people will say, well, it's not Beat, it's all execution. But it's not all execution, because there is some randomness to him as well. So, you know, I mean, you just need to adapt and stuff. And just kind of hope he doesn't screw you. Yeah, okay. So our runners did not need a break. We're on to game 2. We'll see how this run goes. So Ppot did not die, right? RF had 1 death. Oh no, Ppot did die, sorry. He died on the second screen of Gravity. And RF died in the nth screen of Wily 2, which was a costlier death. Ppot's death, I think, was earlier on, relatively, so not as punishing. So Starman is also, you know, kind of a scary stage to start on in a high pressure situation, such as a race or a marathon or no reset runs. There's a lot of spikes, you know, all over the stage, so if you hold the A button a little too long and jump too high, or you don't hold it long enough and jump too low, you can end up dying pretty easily. So I kind of touched on Grav Skip very briefly, and by very briefly I mean I mentioned it in passing, but didn't actually explain it at all. So this stage is affected by like pseudo water physics, gravity. So both runners got Grav Skip this time, so they don't lose or gain any time relative to each other. So yeah, throughout the stage you're affected by lower gravity, just like you're underwater. But when you finish the stage, you saw both runners do it this time. You can enter a state where basically you're affected by normal gravity. And so in the cutscene, Mega Man jumps up and then comes back down in the middle of the room and then falls down to the bottom. If you're affected by Starman's gravity, it takes a lot longer because you're still affected by his gravity in that cutscene. So he'll just kind of float down both times. He'll float down halfway and then float down to the ground. But if you get Grav Skip, quote unquote, then you're affected by regular gravity. And it saves like 2 or 3 seconds or something. It's some absurd amount of time for how silly the trick is. Basically, you try to jump right before the fanfare. And there's some percentage of success based on how high your jump is. And there's also a 1/3 chance that you just randomly get it by doing nothing. But yeah, basically runners will just spam jump at the end to try to get Grav Skip. So we'll see if Ppot can get half task this time. Went for it last time, but shot his shot a little too soon. That looks good. So there you go. That was half task. Saves 1.5 seconds over the normal fight. Because basically you get a hit. So you see this stage that end of the fight where RF Gravity Man walked at the top and then jumped again. That's the part that Ppot skipped because Ppot basically got an earlier hit. It is difficult to do, but if you miss it, then like it's an extra hit. If you miss it, you shouldn't lose any time, assuming you do the rest of the fight normally. Yeah, now RF is 4 minutes ahead. Looks like he's doing stage subsplits or something. So basically it means we can't have an accurate assessment of lead. Or I mean we can, it's just more work. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, so RF's arrow was a little high, I guess. If you're aware of it, then you can actually slide under those tellies. Mega Man's hitbox when he's sliding is like 1 pixel high, maybe 2. It's very, very small. So if RF had slid, he would have been fine. It wasn't so high that he would have. Wow, God, that was like really scary in general. Taking a hit there. The letter is very difficult to get in general. Just because you're waiting, you have to wait for the platform to fall. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's fine. You have to wait for the platform to start falling, then jump off of it. If you jump too soon, you jump off before you get the letter. If you jump too late, you can't jump off and you die. So I thought, based on when RF took damage, I thought he actually wouldn't be able to jump at all, because I didn't think he would regain control, but he did. But then he accidentally stayed on the platform too long, maybe? I actually don't remember what happened, but ended up taking the death, which actually isn't too bad in the grand scheme of things. That screen is the checkpoint screen. So you just start back at the beginning of that screen anyway. So I think it's like 15 seconds, somewhere around there. And RF did respect iframes this time, so he does not need to switch to Buster. Oh, the next block was already falling. Yeah. Classic K for kill. So that does put him, at a deficit already, when he normally would have needed to hope for Ppot to, I think, die once or twice. But we'll see how it goes. Like I said, that was a pretty unpunishing, or pretty lenient, I don't know, death as far as it goes, relative to other possible ones. Like if he dies here, that will be much harder, but he got the backup fine. Got through pretty cleanly. The scary thing is if you get off and then you shoot another arrow and you arrive underneath the crystal dropper right as the crystal drops and it just kills you. But he got the backup clean, so he's fine. So Crystal Man, he can either decide he'll always start the fight off the same way. He'll jump and shoot 4 crystals diagonally. And the strat is to basically deboost and then try to absorb as many of the crystals as possible to reduce lag. And then after that, he will either keep jumping or he'll stop at the peak of his jump and then shoot another crystal. I don't know if there's any difference time-wise between his patterns. I don't think so, but I guess if he keeps stopping to shoot, he'll die further into the room, so there might be more lag from death sprites, or I don't think his lemon really causes lag. So I think it's all the same. Mega Man 5 is not really known for, except for Wily Press and potentially Wily Capsule if you're doing beatless. Not a huge amount of boss RNG. RF's timer restarts every time he finishes a stage. It's basically a stage timer rather than a game timer. This could be scary for Ppot. No, he's fine. Normally, you try to kill that. It's an interesting screen, but he got through fine. He didn't die, which is the important part. Normally, you try to kill the little thing, whatever it's called, and then just land on the platform and slide. If you miss it, if you back deboost, you'll always be fine. But depending on like when you pause, it might be too hard to backwards deboost. And so it kind of depends on your positioning. Papa was fine there, so it was very interesting. I'm really actually the most impressive part was that he actually managed to shoot an arrow and then jump over the helicopter dude. Every time I do that, I shoot him with the arrow and then take damage and then fall down. So pretty good improv by Ppot there. So yeah, you see, I briefly mentioned it before, gravity versus early crystal. Gravity in general is a very powerful weapon. It's a whole screen nuke, and it does good damage. So like if you're playing this casually, gravity is a really good weapon to use. But also just for backups in general, like it, in a speedrun. Just because, you know, it does so much damage, and it also, the reason why it's a very viable strat for this stage in stone is because mostly, or a lot of it is its strength, but also its consistency. Like if you do early crystal or early napalm in this stage, which I think both runners did, you're killing stuff basically, and when you kill stuff, you risk getting drops, which loses time if you get drops. It's 4 frames per tick in this game. Versus gravity, when you kill stuff, they don't die in the traditional sense. They just get reversed. They get affected by reverse gravity, like you do in Gravity Man stage. So that means that they don't drop anything. So it's very consistent in that your time save will, if you execute it properly, will always be the same because you're never going to get drops. So that's why it's a very, very consistent strat for certain stages. The screen that Ppot's in, the Eddie room, that's another room with a fake wall with an M tank behind it. So yeah, this you see you see Ppot doing early napalm. This is another screen where you can do gravity instead. Both of these screens basically will save one menu, so it's 1.5 seconds-ish. But again, that depends on if you get drops or not. You'll save less time if you get drops. Better pattern for Ppot that time. You got a couple happy stones. Ideally, the ideal pattern is he can also start out with a happy stone, although that's quite rare. So ideally, he just does little hops the entire time. You just kill him really easily. Oh, I'm sorry. RF does gravity here. So you see a difference in strats here. It's very simple. You just use gravity hold whenever there's an enemy that might hit you, and they die instantly. But yeah, saves a menu to do early napalm. We'll see what RF gets. Ooh, nice. Very happy stones. That was the second best. Only improved if he hadn't done the initial high jump. That's what we want to see. Just see lots of low jumps like that. Nice and happy. Doesn't feel like slamming himself into little rocks. And you see Ppot again. He loves doing these more difficult lag reduction strats. So you saw him killing a bunch of eggs, and more mice and more eggs than most runners do, just to reduce some lag. It is more difficult, and I'm not even sure how much time that saves, to be honest. But Ppotdot loves doing difficult strats like that, and he's a really good slide canceller. So one of those mouse kills involves turning around very quickly, and you don't actually. That wasn't to cancel a slide. I think that was at the end of a slide, but it's the same concept. So very good fight again for Ppotdot. 20 to 30 frames total. That's a lot more than I expected it to be honest. I thought it would be like single-digit frames. Oh yeah, of course, drops. Drops are the bane of these strats where you kill stuff. So both runners, the first run got in ammo, so they're able to do the extra arrow strat at the end, but did not get it this time. So essentially what that means for the boss fight is normally you have a semi-charged, a partially charged shot, and then you hit them, and then you do a fully charged shot, and then menu to stone. So the fight actually executes exactly the same. Or ideally, it executes exactly the same. Because you deal 4 damage to him at the same time, and then you switch to stone. So execution-wise, it's the same. It just starts out a little differently. I don't think Ppotdot meant to take this boat. I assume when he jumped, I think he jumped, so he just wasn't holding down. If you plan on taking the boat, which is a viable race strat, because if you slide through the boat trigger and then jump into the screen transition, but if you touch the ground before you hit the screen transition, then you soft lock, and you have to reset. And password back into the stage. So because it saves, around 3 seconds or something, you can just skip it. But if you were going to skip it, you'd only use 1 arrow and just ride a single arrow. Doing the extra arrows adds lag. So nice. Oh no, RF fell at the end. Dang. If you fall there, you lose like 17 seconds or something. Or 15 or 16, I think. That's if you can get the second back up. If you have to take both large bubbles, then I think you lose more. I think he RF must have just missed his A input there. That's really unfortunate. Bubble skip is like it's a difficult strat to execute, and then if you miss it, it's a lot of time loss. And it is kind of finicky. So it can be stressful, certainly. I think that was an 1828 or so teleport for Ppotdot, which is very good. This is easily 33 pace. So the fight or the boss. So you see Ppotdot backed out of the 2-framer, like I mentioned before. If you don't think you're going to make it, you can just turn around and you end up not losing any time. The fight that RF was in, Ppotdot1, is the mini boss for Wave Man. He can be tricky. Just because of it, again, his iframes. Basically, any enemy that you have to kill ends up being tricky, just because of iframes. And normally, you just use Charge Buster and just blast through them. Charge Buster in this game does so much damage. Well, the only mini boss in Mega Man 5. Yeah, that's true. I really thought about it. Yeah, normally you just Charge Buster. Does 3 damage, pierces enemies, kills everything. But yeah, any enemy that you have to kill, it usually ends up being kind of tricky. You see, RF opted to use his E-Tank here. You typically end up deboosting a lot in Wave Man, so definitely makes sense to E-Tank if you are a little lower on health than you like to be. Just because you're already in the menu anyway, doesn't lose too much time, and it makes it a lot safer. So here you're at a couple mishaps for bubble skip, so it makes sense that you don't want to take a death and end up losing more time. Ppot got the ammo drop there, which ends up not losing any time, actually. Since in the castles, you don't regain any ammo. Your ammo count stays the same, and you use M-Tanks like constantly in this in this game. For the most part, once you're in castles, getting ammo drops doesn't lose any time, because if you didn't get an ammo drop, the ammo would just be refilled by an M-Tank anyway. So you lose time in this stage, but you gain time in the stage that you would be M-Tanking. So it doesn't really matter. Once you get past Wily 1, though, then it matters, because that's the last M-Tank you're going to use. Wait, that's not right. No, once you get past Wily 2, I'm sorry. Wily 2, the right past the checkpoint room, is the last M-Tank you use. So ammo drops don't really matter. It's health drops that you usually are going to regret getting. Unless it saves your life. Like if you finish Big Pets with 1 extra life after getting a 2 health drop. Nice. So that was a very well executed fight for Ppot there. Essentially, you're trying to do your movement and manipulate his movement in such a way that Beat's always hitting him like as soon as his iframes turn off. And he killed him right in the corner. So that saves lag frames as well for despawning the death sprites faster. So he had a little bit of hiccup on the first D2 fight, but that one was, I think, basically perfect. And into the Widowmaker as RF starts Dark 2. The conveyor belt screen that RF is coming up to can be kind of scary as well. First, the screen transition. If you transition too far right, you saw the spikes were on the right side of the room. So if you're too far right when you transition, it'll just transition you into the spikes and you just instantly die. And then there are certain conveyor belts that you slide on and some that you don't. Okay, Ppot accidentally shot both of his arrows on the same height, so he'll do the backup. You basically deboost and then just slide on the blocks like this and deboost on the last guy. It's definitely scarier than the normal strat, just because, I mean, single block slides are always kind of scary. Less scary in this game maybe than in like Mega Man 3, but if you end up missing your slide or missing your jump out of the slide, then you fall into the spikes and end up dying. So it can definitely be scary, but well executed by Ppot. And we're entering bosses. RF ended up just turning off his timer entirely. So this fight, the Dark 3 fight, as long as you're close enough to him and always doing damage, he'll always just shoot these 3 rings. And typically you do what Ppot did, which is basically manipulate him so that he'll shoot his rings up, and then you jump up, so he shoots it up, and then you just stand on the ground and keep shooting him. Or you can do what RF did, or does, which is he lets the boss just fire straight and just jumps over them. Either way works. I think they're probably the same time. But yeah, if any of those rings hit you, then they freeze you, which is less than ideal. Basically the same primal tower with 1 extra tower cycle. So this is why this mech cannon. Wow, I did not think that arrow was high enough. For RF, I thought the arrow was going to be low enough that the turret would either hit him or... Oh boy. So... Unfortunately, RF has to do this... Oh man. Yeah, this snake room with Rush Jet. He accidentally ended up on the second arrow, which I think should be fine. You should be able to slide under the platform at that height. Yeah, shouldn't been able to slide under it because I think you have like a 3. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of the these last platforms. I'm actually not sure if you can slide under the first one if it's not the bottom. But yeah, that screen, I mean, you saw it right there. It's a lot slower if you have to use Rush. And this is exactly why. This is exactly why this stage is so scary. You know, if you end up dying. And using Jet, it just loses a lot of time. But he handled the backup pretty well. I mean, the death was unfortunate. And it just had to do with the fact that, you know, Rush decided to despawn himself on the spike. And RF wasn't expecting it, so... So yeah, this is the other fight that I was mentioning, the other strat. Where RF just kind of stands in front of him and then jumps over the shots. So yeah, okay, now RF is into the Wily stages at least. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, that's Dark 3. All right, so he has Dark 4 first. Meanwhile, Ppot is doing the Crusher screen. The screen does have a dumb strat that you can do that involves zipping into the ground, or getting pushed into the ground and then zipping, where as the Crusher is going to crush you and basically push you into the ground and crush you, you have a 1 or maybe 2 frame window. I'm not actually sure. Baron can say in chat, because he probably knows. You have some very small number of frames. Oh, 3 frame window. Okay. That's not too bad, but I mean, it's still a dumb strat. You have a 3 frame window to hit A as the Crusher is pushing you into the ground. And this is really scary for RF. I don't think he has an E-tank. Oh, jeez. Okay, so Beat ended up killing the boss, but it doesn't count. In this game, double KOs count as you dying. So he's going to have to do this fight with the Buster, unfortunately. Because Beat kept attacking, he ended up with less ammo than if Beat had just stopped attacking. So yeah, on the Crusher screen, if you have a 3 frame window to hit A, and then it pushes you into the ground, instead of killing you. So you're in the ground, you face left, and it shoots you to the right. And yeah, like Baron said, like I tried it, and I think lots of people have tried it, and it's very difficult to actually end up saving Crusher cycles just based on needing to kill things. And this is okay. Yeah, RF takes another death. Dark Teryx had to do this fight Buster only as well in one of his races. That's a death. Yeah, it's a very difficult fight to do. Like normally, and then these runners, or Ppotdot actually I think is practice speedless, but RF he's only been running the game for a few months, so he certainly has not been practicing. So yeah, difficult even if you know the fight, but if you're thrown into it and have to do it without knowing how to do it, exponentially harder, because like he has these shields, and you hope that he hits his shields like this and jumps, because then the shield moves and you can shoot him when it's missing. Otherwise you have to time it so you hit the boss when the shields are missing, and it's very, very difficult if you're not used to it. All right, but he's through. Now into Wily's as Ppotdot finishes Wily 2. Yeah, so Wily 2, Q9, his like I mentioned very briefly, his window's open and then he's vulnerable. You can shoot you can shoot like you can deboost off of him and shoot gyro directly into his hitbox, like directly center mass in between his eyes. But if his doors aren't open, he's totally invulnerable. Like, you'll never deal damage to him. So it's a really annoying fight. You have to wait for his doors to open, basically, and hit him then. And when his doors are open, then you can deboost and shoot into his body. Is this going to be a triple? Almost triple. Ppotdot again is doing doubles on every cycle. And he has to E-tank. This is why he picked up the extra E-tank. And this can't be a triple. Wow. This could be nice. Triple to end out the fight. So triples are very difficult to get because it's like all timing. You have to time your deboost properly, and then you can get 3 hits on a 7. Ppotdot has done that fight twice, and Wily Press has dropped 7 times, or sorry, 6 times. No, 7 times. 7 times, and every single one of them has been a 7. So Wily Press not on Ppotdot's side tonight. The triples are older than that, but Ppotdot was trying to do doubles on every cycle, and that is more recent. Baron put a lot of time into trying to figure out how to get double hits on every cycle, and unfortunately RF took another death. But luckily, it was in the checkpoint room again, so it doesn't lose too much time dying there. So yeah, all 7s for Ppotdot. Classic. So something went wrong for Ppotdot. I think one of his hits hit iframes. Luckily, so GG. 3409. Pot wins 34-9. Very good time. Or not? Was it earlier? So yeah. And RF is going to forfeit, unfortunately. But I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of deaths, and bot finished, so makes sense wanting to GG out of that game. So Ppotdot wins this one, which means that he goes up against me next round. In the semifinals, he's the second seed, I'm the third seed. So that'll be fun. 2 low 34s, I think, for Ppotdot. So pretty good runs. 34-13 and then 34-14-ish. And we'll see if we get the runners in for post game. What's up, Ppotdot? GG.
Thanks.
There's some good runs you put together tonight.
Yeah, they were pretty good. There was brain off moments in both runs. But in general, like, I felt pretty good about how I played.
Yeah.
I
kind of sucks that press kept giving you 7s when you were trying to do standing doubles and everything. But at least you got that triple.
Yeah, I did get the triple at the end there. That's the 7-7-7. So I managed to somehow avoid, like, I wanted to get the triple on the second hit, but I didn't take damage on my way down.
Did I win?
Yeah, of course you did. So I ended up with more health than I would have normally had. So
yeah, we
managed to get the 7 and not die on the last pattern.
Yeah, it was definitely cool seeing the 7 or the triple at the end. So yeah, GG RF.
Did I win?
You did.
I won participation trophy.
Yeah, I mean, you're
race me in 6, Ppotdot.
Yeah, with a salty run back 6 right after this.
Nah, I'm gonna hide for a bit.
So yeah, I mean, hope you guys enjoyed, doing this race. I don't know if either of you two have any things that stood out to you as, either moments that you're happy about or possibly less happy about.
I had, I think I played really well in general in my first run in the first race. My brain completely shut off at the start of Gravity, and I couldn't tell you how that happened where I died there. Like, I know what happened, but I don't know how it happened. But like the rest of the run with some castle stuff that went off the rails a little bit was extremely good. The second run was sloppier in general, but like it's still a good run overall. And then I can't figure out how to use bird currently. I gotta spend an hour again just practicing bird stuff.
It's definitely tricky. I will say I was impressed that you managed to calculate on the spot that you would have 1 remaining health in the big pets that first run.
Yeah, that was
impressive.
Calculated. That was totally calculated. I just didn't want to use my E-Tank because I knew if I get the 7-7-7 pattern on press that I need it there. So I was just like, whatever. If I die here, it's fine. I'll just do this fight again.
I was okay until the first race in the Wily 1 stage, and then like all hell broke loose, and then after that I just played angry. So and it just carried on over. Yeah, it just carried on over into the second race. Good thing my mic wasn't on.
Are you gonna keep going with this game, RF, or are you retiring with your unsubmitted 35? That Mellow mentioned?
I should submit it, but
you should submit that.
But I think I'm gonna go for like a sub 35 maybe.
Nice.
I feel like even with my unsubmitted PB, I still save like just 30 seconds on the Wily press alone. So, and then so like, I think I'll probably go for a sub 35 and then see where I go from there.
Nice.
Excellent. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I still challenge you in 6 though. It's not now.
All right, guys. Well, GG. I'd say good
GG.
luck in the next round, Ppot, but we're facing each other.
Yeah,
Pharaoh, I need you to avenge me.
Best of commentary luck to you as well.
Avenge me,
I'll
Pharaoh.
do my best to avenge you, RF.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, GG, guys. Do you guys have any last parting words for your viewers?
Don't trust the bird.
There is no stupid bird, only stupid player. That's what I have to say.
All right. I think this is it for this round. So we're on to semifinals next. Like we said before, I will be playing Ppot, and then on the other side it will be Chrissy versus Primal. Yeah. So those haven't been scheduled yet, but look forward to those. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. Hope you catch the rest of the tournament.